the male reproductive system, the production of sperm, the production of testosterone is hormonally controlled. So the hormonal control, goes along with the neural control. But hormonal tends to be what helps to maintain homeostasis, and it is generally long-term. So we could talk about like the long-term regulation of proper sperm levels, as well as maintaining proper levels of testosterone. So when we talk about hormonal control, specifically in reproduction, we have what is called an axis. So this axis is the hypothalamic, which is actually part of your brain, right? Hypothalamic, hypothalamus, pituitary, gonadal, pituitary, gonadal axis. Okay, so this just explains how these things interact. So when we look at the hypothalamus produces what is called GnRH. And this is a hormone that affects another gland. So it's sometimes referred to as a tropic hormone. You might remember that if you took biology 232. So this is the gonadotropic releasing hormone. So this gonadotropic releasing hormone is going to, it's tropin, sorry, it's a tropin releasing hormone. It's like, where's the N come from? Okay, gonadotropin releasing hormone is going to affect the pituitary. So the pituitary, interestingly, produces two hormones that we generally think of as just female hormones, but they're actually also in the male. They're also named after what they do in the female, so their names generally aren't that relevant to male reproduction. So these are FSH, which is follicle stimulating hormone, and LH, which is called luteinizing hormone. So males, they don't have follicles. This is what is described, what happens in the ovary when this hormone is released in a female. But the follicle stimulating hormone, this is going to go into your blood, and then it's going to travel to the testes, and it is actually going to increase the production of sperm. So this increases sperm production in the gonad. LH, on the other hand, in males, increases testosterone production. So these two hormones play a role in male as well as female. Okay, so if we look at a diagram that shows this, your hypothalamus is located right above your pituitary gland. It is so important. Remember that we talked about how it regulates body temperature. It also regulates hunger and thirst. It's also part of your limbic system, your emotional system. It just plays a huge role. So it produces that GnRH, which travels via a portal system to your anterior pituitary gland. And then FSH and LH are produced, and then they travel via the circulatory system to your gonads. So FSH specifically causes the sperm to be produced, and we'll talk more about this later. The sperm, this is so weird. The sperm are actually being produced inside of a cell. This is like a huge cell that's called the sustentacular cell. And sperm are produced in here. And one of the hypotheses for why that is the case is that hides the sperm from the immune system. Because sperm are going to be genetically different than the male. And so the immune system might attack it otherwise. That's one hypothesis. So surrounding the cross sections of your seminiferous tubules are what are called interstitial cells. These are endocrine cells that produce testosterone. So it's actually the interstitial cells. And what does that mean? That means inside of the tissue. So they're between the seminiferous tubules. And these interstitial cells produce testosterone. Now, what this diagram is actually showing is the negative feedback mechanism that helps to maintain homeostasis. So this is why we have these lines here. So let's say that you're producing too many sperm. Maybe your FSH levels are too high. Maybe your sperm production is too high, it's excessive. So what would happen is this hormone called inhibin would travel back up to the anterior pituitary and shut down the production of FSH. So we can say that the regulation of sperm production is regulated by FSH and inhibin. And just like it sounds, inhibin inhibits the production of FSH. So too high sperm production, inhibin decreases FSH production. Okay. We could also regulate testosterone levels, and males, their hormonal levels stay pretty constant throughout the month, unlike females, but it does fluctuate a little bit. And I read somewhere that it's like 20 minutes, it fluctuates every 20 minutes. So you have a high testosterone levels, then it comes down a little bit, then it goes up high. So my joke is that you ask a guy to do something for you and they say no, and then 10 minutes later you ask them again, and maybe their testosterone levels are lower and maybe they changed their mind. Okay, so too high testosterone. Testosterone is actually its own negative feedback. So testosterone goes back up, and this causes a decrease. Oops, I screwed this up. This should be LH production. Nope, I did that. I had that right before. Sorry, FSH. This is decreased LH. Okay. LH stimulates the interstitial cells to produce testosterone. FSH stimulates the production of sperm cells through meiosis that occurs inside of the seminiferous tubule.